Hello, this is Daniel, and I'm going electric tonight for the average person. And I am currently in park. I need to be in drive. I'm at the Supercharger station in the Presidio in lovely San Francisco. Um, I think this is the Letterman Center of Arts, something like that, and where Lucasfilms is located. Nobody's charging tonight, so the big lesson of this evening is if you want to have guaranteed available chargers, charge in the middle of the night. And if you're single like me, why not? Um, Went out tonight. Ooh, the gate's closed here. I hope they let me out because the gates were open when I came in. Oh, there they go. Went out with my best friend tonight and her two lovely little children, ages 9 and 11, my god kids, or atheist god kids, as my friend calls them. And took them out, and the kids loved the car, and my friend was asking all sorts of questions about the car too, because kids like the futuristic side of it, and they were wowed by all the things that it does. Let me turn off the lights here, and the sounds it makes. And then my friend was really impressed. Just it's an attractive car, and it's powerful. And she actually, okay, camera is supposed to focus on my face, but it's dark, and now it just lost. So you're probably going to see the camera going in all sorts of wacky ways. Let me see if it can see me now. I may turn off this auto function. Hold on. Let's see if that gets rid of it. Hopefully it can find me. So, anyways, they really loved the car. Went out for a drive, and I put it on autopilot and showed them how all that worked. And it was all very futuristic, especially for my godson. He thought that was just like fabulous. Um, so that was fun. And then they noticed a number of the sounds that the car makes as well. And so tonight's episode is going to be about Tesla sounds. And it might seem like somewhat of a strange topic, but it is a legitimate topic because, as anybody who drives Tesla knows, these cars make sounds that regular cars don't. So I've been thinking about what kind of sounds does this car make? And we will start with a couple. So after I drop them off, um, is it kind of weird to have this light on my face? Is it illegal even? We'll see if the camera goes haywire again on its own. So after I dropped him off, this is in the Mission Dolores area of San Francisco, and there's like all these hills. You know, when you think of San Francisco and these crazy up and down hills, that's one of the neighborhoods that has them. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go charge the car anyways. I might as well just like push that battery and see what I can get out of it. So let me go to some steep hills and I'll gun it going up, and then let me go to some steep hills and I'll like regen it coming down. And so I found a couple hills in that area between like Castro and Church, I think it is, where you have these really steep hills that you go up and down. Am I green? Yeah, okay, they're stopped. I'm basically at Divisadero and Lombard in San Francisco. And I'm going to go up to the fun little Lombard squiggly bit and come down there, back into the financial district, which is where I'm spending the night tonight. Um, So yeah, so I found these hills, and as expected, when I'm going up a steep hill and you punch the accelerator, the car goes. Like it's nice. It's not like a lot of cars where it has to downshift and do this crazy. You go. But I assume there's some penalty for the battery. I wasn't really staring at the percentage amount, but no doubt it takes more energy to go up a hill gunning rather than coasting downhill. So then I turned around and then like regen down some of the steepest hills I could find. And I was wondering if the car would regen down to zero, but it turned out that even on the steepest hill I could find, the car still kept at about 5 miles an hour. And I imagined if like I'd gone down an infinitely long hill, it would have kept going. I mean, these cars are not light, so there's a lot of mass behind them. But I had dreamt that I was going to regen the whole battery back to 100%, and of course that did not happen. So that was all fun and games. And then it was probably like a 5 mile drive up to the Presidio to get to the supercharger. So when I was driving, the car's quiet. I didn't have the stereo going. Um, I heard this like zzz kind of sound coming from what would be an engine bay in a regular car, but in this car it's a frunk. And then between the windshield and the frunk is like some stuff. Which I don't know. One day, if I cared, I could probably go to the internet and type in like what's in the front of my Tesla. Anyways, there's some noise in the front of the Tesla. So I imagined with all of the gunning it going up the hill and regenning back down the hill, presumably there was a fair amount of electricity being like pumped out or whatever the term is, like drained from the battery to go to the motors, and then a fair amount of regen coming back in and putting it back in. So I'm assuming the battery was getting a workout. And as far as I've read and seen online, these batteries need to be kept within some sort of like temperature range and functioning range. And I imagined, and you guys can all comment down below, that the humming I was hearing that went on for like a full 5 miles and then well into when I started charging, um, I assume it was battery maintenance technology kicking in and keeping the battery in its pleasant state. I don't know. That's the only thing I could come up with. Otherwise, there's some weird noise that my car's making. Um, so that was a noise that you have to get used to. And I had heard people or had read about like a Chevy Volt, for example, that is it was like burning gas and creating electricity, that it made these really loud noises that freak people out. Well, this car doesn't have any gas on it, so I knew it wasn't an electric generator per se, but it was something probably related to battery maintenance. So that was one sound to get used to. Um, so then there's like a bucket of sounds. Okay, I got this guy's headlights in my face. Then there's like this other bucket of clicks and pops that you hear on the car, which presumably happen in a regular car, but because this car is so silent, you probably don't hear it because there's no engine noise masking what you would usually have masked probably in some other cars, like a gas car. And so some of the sounds that you hear would be like, so I just came to a stop with one pedal driving, didn't use the brakes, and as I came to the stop at this red light, the hold feature engaged. And like a lot of new cars, if you drive up on a hill, for example, and you let your foot off the brake, it will engage, I guess, the e-brake or whatever it is, and the car doesn't roll back. Well, in this car, you hear it and you kind of feel it a little bit. And I was just on, flat land there at that red light, and you just come down and it just goes like, kind of lock. It's not intrusive, but it's also not subtle at the same time, and it just locks, it engages. So you hear these like engaging sounds. You hear some like little pops here and there, and I don't know what those are. Maybe it's like, I don't know, not like bad pops, but kind of like mechanical little things. Um, Parking brake when you press and hold the stalk, like that's all probably part of that like engaging lock that you hear. So you hear those things. I still think that the wind noise on this car at highway speeds is unusually loud. And it's not that it's just unusually loud, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos. It's not that it's just like unusually loud. It just seems particularly windy and not totally consistent, almost as if like, I mean, I get it. If you're driving a car and like 70-mile-per-hour crosswinds, you're gonna hear it. Oh, that was a nice maneuver with that car there. You're gonna hear it as you get the crosswind. So it wasn't even that. It just seems like there's a lot of wind noise coming in off the windshield, and then almost as if like the back windows are cracked somehow. Like not like shattered, cracked, but kind of like cracked open. In cars when you don't have the right sealant or whatever. Unless it's just that electric cars are so quiet that you just hear a lot more wind noise. We'll see. I think it would be weird if I had to wear my like AirPods Pro and put them on noise canceling to kind of get rid of the sound. I mean, it's not deafening and my ears aren't bleeding, but um, it's certainly louder than I would expect. So that's another noise that I guess I have to get used to. We'll see. Maybe, as I mentioned before, I'll report it. It's probably within specs. Coming up on Hyde and Lombard Street here, so I'll be going through the little zigzag. Cross traffic does not stop. I don't need my beautiful new blue Tesla side swiped. I'm going to hit it. Okay, now I'm going to go down. I hope this camera doesn't like fall off the dashboard because it's just sitting here on a little tripod. It's not exactly the most stable thing. Oh, this is another noise that I forgot to mention. Maybe I mentioned it. I can't remember. Did I mention it in another video? Anyways, I'm going to mention it here. So as you might remember, Lombard Street, and this camera's starting to get all over the place. Lombard Street is like the world's crookedest street, or if it's not the world's crookedest street in San Francisco, it's like number two. I think there's some like obscure street in San Francisco that's officially crookeder. So, anyways, when I turn the wheel, really like I'm cranking it because on this thing you're doing like hairpin turns basically. I don't know if you can hear it. Hold on. When I turn the wheel really hard, like it almost feels like it's rubbing a little bit on itself. Not like, yeah, you can't really. Okay, there it's a little. It's almost like. It's not like a electric hum, but it's a little bit like it's rubbing. I wonder if it's just growing pains for the car. Maybe is it there it is a little bit more. I don't know. I'm gonna keep my ear on that one and see how that goes. Oh, Tesla regen kind of gave out a little bit on that one. I sped up. So now I'm gonna go down a big hill with a little bit of extra regen. This is a pretty steep hill just as you come off the base of Lombard Street. And then we'll get some of that sounds. I don't think regen makes any sounds. I just put the car. I'm gonna coast it here. And now you just have the regular regen sound, like kind of electric hum. So that sound when I'm turning really tight, I get the electric hum when the battery's, I guess, dealing with itself. Some of the clicks and pops. The other sound that you get, hold on, make sure I'm not going to get sideswiped again at this intersection. The other sound that you get in this car, which I was totally not expecting, I'm going to roll down the window because I'm talking a lot and these windows are all fogged up. I suppose I could turn on the defroster, I guess is what that is, but we'll see. I'll just get the fog out. The other sound that I was not expecting at all was a sound I got last night. So I was in the peninsula, and the peninsula is the part of the Bay Area that's between San Francisco and San Jose. So I think between the two cities is about 50 miles, and I was a little bit midway, so it's probably about 23 miles from downtown San Francisco. Came back, went out to dinner with a friend. He loved the car too. He thought it was a lot of fun. Dropped him off at his place, and then driving through North Beach here, by the way, Little Italy, and then Chinatown's on the right. Little Italy is kind of in front of me on the left. Um, I turned on the heater to 74 degrees. Outside temperature was about 60, so it's not like I absolutely needed hot air in the car, but it was getting a little chilly. Turned that on, and so I'm driving, kind of get in the city. You know, wind noise was a little loud. Get in the city off the freeway, and then I come to my first red light. And as I come to this stop, almost like the stop I'm doing right now, click, click for hold. As I came to the stop in downtown San Francisco, with the heater on, I mean, the air is coming out of the car like normal. I mean, it's a heater. All of a sudden, I hear this, and I was like, what the hell was that? Like, it almost sounded like there was someone in the car sighing heavily. A little freaky. I mean, it's October, right? Halloween's coming up. A little freaky. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then I slowed down again and I heard this. Well, it doesn't have the lip sounds. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, I have read that the Model Y, in contrast to the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model S, has a heat pump. And those other cars have what's it called? Resistor heatings or resistant heatings or resistive heating. I don't know what it is. As far as I understand that technology is you have like a metal coil, you put electricity through it, and because there's resistance, it causes energy loss, which creates heat and visible light, which is why the coils turn red to our eyes. That's what I understand. Put in the comments below if I'm totally off on that one. But those cars have that type of heater, which are not efficient at all. And then this car has a heat pump. Now, I know even less about heat pumps than I know about resistive heaters or whatever they're called. So I can't even imagine what a heat pump does other than some device that I guess makes heat clearly through a pump. But it was really weird because as I came to the stops, and maybe it even happened between stops, but I wasn't hearing it, but it was just this, no, okay, that's what it was like. And I was like, how weird. Like, is it making batches of warm air. Like that's kind of odd. I mean, I guess it makes sense if it's a pump. Like I almost felt like if you've ever been to the aquarium and you go to the little starfish pond and they've got seaweed and kelp or whatever, and you're sitting there and it's all rather like pleasant and peaceful, and then all of a sudden this giant wave comes out of some giant fake rock, and then these waves crash around and the starfish go like this and the seaweed's all over the place and you get like movement that you get in the ocean. But that's a pump, presumably. That it's like a water pump, and it like takes a while, and it builds up all this pressure and water, and it just like pumps it all out, and everything goes wild, and then it goes quiet, and then it makes the pump goes, and it makes more. That was the only thing I could think of that's happening with this pump, but I didn't get it. Like there's heat coming out. Why is this car so slow on my tail? Does it know I'm making a video here? I'm gonna have to go around because I gotta get in the left lane. That's right, little Porsche. I gotta get in the left lane. That's the only thing I could think of is it was like blowing out warm air and also like making batches of warm air. I don't know. Tesla engineers, anybody who's reverse engineered this thing, I could probably look it up on the internet by typing like Tesla heat pump diagram schematics and like technology or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to because I got some other stuff to take care of tonight. But anyways, a little odd. That was not expected. That was something I've never heard in any other car. It was not, I mean, it's not disturbing. I'm not like fundamentally rocked by this sound. But it was unexpected and unfamiliar and interesting. If that's the sound that a car makes that has an efficient heater that gets me more miles compared to some resistant, well, there goes my camera. Oh, there goes that Porsche too. He just gunned it. Yeah, sorry, Porsche. I probably could have kicked your butt off the line, but not going to. All right, so my camera totally just took it, just bailed. Let me get you back. Let me get you back. All right, that was a whole lot of excitement. Um, no, if that's what it takes to get extra miles out of my car, you know what, Tesla, you can breathe on me all night long. Um, I'll take it. Other thing, and I don't know, it's been a couple minutes since I left that charger place. Charged a couple times already. DC chargers always cap me at 80%. And I figured, the battery I think was at 49% when I started tonight, and then I plugged into the supercharger at Presidio, and it told me a half hour to get what I thought was going to be 31% battery, and then it told me a half hour, which is more like a 40% charge. So excited. Tesla let me charge the car on DC up to 90%. Tonight's a good night. Lots of weird sounds, lots of weird noises. Where am I going? Okay. Lots of weird sounds and noises, but I got 90% out of my battery. And I'll tell you, because I'm going to be driving this car across country, I'm probably going to be supercharging it all the time. I was expecting to only get 80% charges maximums out of my battery. Maybe, just maybe, can I go left here? I cannot go left here. Just maybe, Tesla is going to be nice to me and put 90% battery charge in, which is going to get me, I don't know, another 20 to 30 miles per charge. I'll take it, Tesla. I will take that extra 20 or 30 miles, especially when I'm driving across country, and 20 to 30 miles can make all the difference in your life, especially if you add it up over 1,000 or 2,000 miles on a drive. So that was exciting, and I'm also dreaming of what it would be like to have an AC charger in my home. I guess a 220 AC charger that you can put in your garage. As far as I'm reading, that lets you charge up to 100%. Um, there are reasons for it. I think in my previous video I talked about it or imagined what they could be. Um, but 90%, I'll take it. One day I'll get 100. Maybe if I stay at a hotel on my drive or something and I'm in some lower capacity charger, Tesla will let me charge up to 100%. God, it would be amazing to use 100% of this battery. It really would be. All right. It would be amazing if I probably stopped talking and I'm about to get to my building and I'm going to pull into the parking garage. No chargers available. Inside of this car is getting all hot and humid, so I'm going to get going. It was great chatting with you. Hope you have a lovely night. I hope you enjoyed the sounds of Tesla. And let me know in the comments below any of the sounds that you've heard in your own Teslas, or if you've driven with any of your friends who have Teslas, the kind of sounds they make. Oh, fire trucks. If I could turn this around, let me see what I've got here. Can I turn this around? All right, camera. Let's turn this around. Why is this not turning around? I cannot turn this camera around while I'm filming. Anyways, you can probably see all the lights on my face. Tons of fire trucks and police all of a sudden at my building. All right, let's hope it didn't catch on fire. I don't think I left the iron on. All right, stay out of trouble. Bye.